The Backrooms. You've been here before. Enigmatic level. The Grave. Survival difficulty. Class 0. Safe, secure, devoid of entities. The Grave is the lowermost level of the Backrooms, without number or calculable depth. The Cosmic Nadir. Image caption. A burial monument within the grave, marking the still dreaming corpse of the entity known as the First of Nights. Image obtained through Via Cruento astral projection, blood tithe category Horribilis. Description: Discovery. The grave is the destination of ensouled beings that die within the backrooms, or any of its itinerant subspaces. For decades, it was presumed that death in the backrooms functioned the same way it did in baseline reality. Evidence of an afterlife, or afterlives, was considered just as much an impossibility within the extra dimension as it is on Earth, until psychodynamicist Dr. Ibrahim Figueroa suggested that the overall weakened realm integument of the backrooms could allow access to post-vital domains if enough energy was provided. To test this theory, a joint experiment was conducted to examine the integrity of the backroom's spiritual partitions. The parties involved were as follows. Party: Dr. Ibrahim Figueroa and other select personnel from the Scola Obscura. Role: Spiritual architecture, baseline theory, and astral shunt manifold configurations. Party: The Conclave of Insurrectionists. Role: Ritual stabilization, bloodworks, knowledge of the true name of Ebroiath, and living sacrifices. Party: Ebroiath, Archdemon of the Averse Frilament. Role: Arcane Amplification, Technical Advisory. Party: Blue Sky Telecom TM. Role: Funding, electromagnetic insulation, monitoring equipment, and data security. Initial trials were inconclusive due to errors in the astral shunt array, moral impurity of sacrifices, and Eboriath's lies. But subsequent tightening of experimental procedures and resource procurement eventually led to success, and the first astrotelemetrically verified images of the grave resolved on visual recording equipment. Footnote: provided courtesy of Blue Sky Telecom TM. End footnote. As visual fidelity and the rate of sacrifices increased, the sacrificed individuals could occasionally be seen rising from bodies of water within the grave, falling from the sky, appearing from behind stones, or manifesting in other ways. Once the manifesting individuals were confirmed to be those sacrificed to the experiment less than 3 minutes prior, the experiment was halted, to be continued at a later date and under a more secure ritual structure. Environment. Topographically, the grave is not dissimilar from some environments found on Earth, or in a select few known exoworlds. The majority of the space is an identifiable landscape composed of Earth, partially featured with hills, mountains, rivers, and other recognizable terrestrial landforms. Observed portions of the region thus far are colonized by plant life, though their specific species and makeup are unknown. Wind is frequent, and precipitation is occasional. The level undergoes a day-night cycle, but the periodicity is approximately 36 hours, rather than 24. The grave is illuminated not by a sun, but what appears to be a geometrical array of moons or other non-plasmic celestial objects that each emit light at a different frequency. These different sources combine to provide light that is near white in coloration. Additionally, the night sky within the grave contains stars, but their arrangement is unknown and appears to change at speeds that would violate the speed of light in baseline reality. Most notably, the landscape of the grave features monuments and structures associated with death and internment. Some of these are familiar headstones, grave markers, and tombs, but some are of dimensions grossly exceeding those needed for human-sized bodies. Other structures are entirely unfamiliar, but are believed to represent the graves of beings with existences outside of conventional human understanding. Several examples include a city-sized complex of gray buildings, each surface of which is lined with stone mortuary shelves, estimated to house over 10 million corpses in a state of arrested decay, only very few of which are verifiably human. Notably, every human corpse in this complex thus far has been found headless, and dressed in royal vestments with a crown or other form of royal headdress placed upon their chest. An extremely large two-handed sword, footnote, estimated at over 700 feet long from tip to hilt, end footnote, driven into the earth at the center of what initial observations estimated is a meteoric impact crater, now flooded and eroded, indicating the causative impact took place more than 50,000 years ago. Approximately once every 9 years, when a specific unknown star aligns with the sword's hilt, a glowing inscription of omnicomprehensible runes appears in the sky above the crater and shines for exactly 9 minutes and 9 seconds. The inscription reads, "Rests here the champion, the great Empyrean, imperfect and glorious, first of knights. His work is done. You are saved." Note, see the Red Knight. A colossal, mountain-sized machine resembling hundreds of intricate cathedrals built on continuous track treads. This vehicle moves across the landscape of the grave and has never been seen to stop, regardless of what is in its way. In each of its appearances, hymns can be heard coming from it, sung by no less than several thousand voices speaking an unknown language. The smoke emitted by its exhaust stacks occasionally gathers into clouds, which leave rain in its wake. Several of the rivers seen within the grave are presumed to be a result of this machine's movements. A statue several thousand feet tall of an entity with 8 arms of varying lengths and a head featuring thousands of closed eyes. Its 8 hands cradle an energetic construct resembling the singularity of a black hole. This object's gravitational field draws in vortices of air, clouds, and small objects such as leaves, but does not appear to have any effect on the monument itself. The fate of those arriving within the grave is ultimately unknown. Visual contact with the few identifiable sacrifices sent there during the course of experimentation has only lasted for several minutes at the longest, and none have been seen since the initial sighting. Experimentation of greater scope is currently being considered as improved methodology and materials become available. Currently, the only means of interface with the grave is high-intensity via cruento astral projection, and the risks involved with this process make study infrequent. No individuals confirmed to have been sent to the grave have either been observed returning to real space in any capacity, nor do they appear to have any means of transmitting information beyond the domain. Entrances and exits. Entrances: death. Exits: none.